Enjoy the 5 controversies plaguing the Obama administration. Joining us from Washington, Charles Krauthammer. So, please assess my talking points. Did I miss anything?
No, I think you got it right, and I think you got the one that's going to hurt the president the most absolutely right. There's no question that Obamacare is going to hurt the Democrats in November and also in 2016, because it's not so much the scandalous part of it. It's the fact that it's the embodiment and sort of the symbol of this kind of Obama hyperliberalism and intrusiveness, and because it affects people where they live. People don't end up in the voting booth reacting so much to scandal as they are to stuff that happens in their own lives. Losing their health insurance. Some of them losing full-time employment, so their hours are cut. Some of them are going to lose their employer-provided health insurance. There's going to be, and of course others with high premiums and high deductibles. There are going to be millions of Americans directly affected,
yes,
and it's going to affect them negatively.
But here's why it's a scandal, though. Here's why it's a scandal, because
I was about to tell you.
Oh, all right. Well, I could probably do it more succinctly than you. It was promised that costs would go down and then everybody would have their same health care that they had before. So the promise was hollow, and that's going to tee people off, in addition to, as you pointed out, the wallet impacting.
Well, I would put it slightly more succinctly and say that the president said, if you like your plan, you can keep it. And it turned out to be a deliberate lie, a lie that he knew wasn't true at the time.
How do you know that it was deliberate? Why do you say that? Maybe it was the hyperbole that all politicians use to sell their program.
I don't often use the word, but if you go back to a meeting the president held with a bunch of congressmen in Blair House at the beginning of the Obamacare debate, I believe this happened in late '09 or perhaps in 2010, and he had Paul Ryan, all the others at the table, and you look at the transcript, it is very clear that the president was made aware in that meeting, openly and in public, that there were people who would lose their plans, large numbers of people. The president acknowledges that in that meeting, and that long predates the many, many times that the president made the promise.
And let me ask
if you
this.
like your plan, you can keep it.
Okay. And that's why we love you, because you back up your blunt assertions with facts. So let me ask you this.
Succinct is the word I would use, yes.
Well, I mean, not many people know about a transcript from the Blair House. I didn't know about it, but you did, and that's why we pay you the big dollars here. But let me ask you this, because this is now troubling. So you've got a president of the United States who acknowledges in your description that a lot of people will be thrown off the insurance rolls and that the costs are going to be higher than he himself has portrayed. Yet he goes on after that and still mouths the stuff that he knows isn't true. That is a very troubling situation, because then you have a dishonest man as commander-in-chief.
Well,
am I wrong?
Presidents shading the truth all the time.
But this is more than shading, though.
Well, this one is more troubling than most, because remember, there was other reporting apart from this meeting at the Blair House. There was reporting of major arguments within the president's inner circle about whether to promise that you'd be able to keep your plan and your doctor or not, with some of the advisors saying, look, this is not true, so we shouldn't say it. Others knowing that this was going to be very hard to get through the Congress, and it passed by a whisker, as you know, with no support from a single Republican, that they said, well, we're going to go for it, and we'll worry about it later. The other thing that factors into this is this administration knows how much the press wants to protect it. That's why on Benghazi, you say, how could they have told this ridiculous fable on the 5 networks, have Susan Rice go out there and say it's a result of a video, when it was known within the administration that it was not. And the reason they would err on the side of telling a fable is because they would figure that the press would not be very interested in this, very inquisitive about
Right.
this.
They wouldn't hold
up
him
until
accountable.
Election Day. And in fact, that's how it happened. There was no interest up to Election Day, and it did not hurt the president in the election.
All right. But you are, and I have to ask this one more time. I'm going to run a little bit over Charles's segment time. You are indicting the president of the United States as essentially being a dishonest person. That's what you're doing here. And that's fairly significant, Charles.
I call him like I see him. I know what the president was doing. It was obvious that he knew. And then it was obvious that he went out. And he didn't only say you can keep your plan if you like your plan. He added the word period. That means absolute certainty. No caveats, no excuses, no contingencies. This is a truth that I am now enunciating. And I think the evidence shows that he knew there was at least major doubt about that. And that, to me, is not honest.
All right, Charles. Thank you. We appreciate it.